Alchemy in Oblivion is one of the most powerful and flexible skills in the entire game. With the right ingredients, you can brew potions to buff your stats, heal your wounds, or coat your blade in paralyzing or silencing poisons. In this video, we're going to break down the basics of alchemy, as well as essential potions and poisons you can make through all 100 alchemy levels, finishing up with some very powerful combinations that you can put together yourself. I'll even show you the alchemy calculator, and you can use that to create your very own recipes. There will also be map overlays for you to be able to go hunting for the specific ingredients you may be missing, so be sure to stick around until the end to become a true master of alchemy. To craft potions, you'll need at least a mortar and pestle. This is your base tool, but to really up your game, you'll want to collect the full set. That also includes your alembic, which is reducing your negative effects in your potions. A calcinator will boost the strength of your positive effects. A retort will enhance positive effects even further. Now, the better quality equipment that you have, the better potions you'll make. You can find apprentice to master level equipment as loot, in shops, or by joining the Mages Guild. To make a potion or poison, you'll want to open up your alchemy menu by selecting the mortar and pestle, and then select at least 2 ingredients that share the same effect. For example, a cheese wedge and a cheese wheel will both restore fatigue, so it'll make a restore fatigue potion when I create that. Alternatively, if I was to remove these and I was to choose rat meat, which damages fatigue, and mort flesh, which also damages fatigue, this will actually create a poison, not a potion. Now, something to keep in mind with poisons is when you apply them to your weapons, your next strike will deal that poison effect, so make sure you don't keep them on all the time. Put them on when you need them. Now here's some quick tips in order to master the alchemical arts in Cyrodiil. You'll want to start by harvesting everything. Mushroom, flowers, meat, hearts, herbs. If it's lootable, it's probably usable. You'll always want to be on the lookout for better alchemical equipment. Higher level alchemy items can be difficult to find out in the world, so you'll always want to be checking alchemy equipment located on shelves, on tables, check your shops, check the Mages Guild, always be looking. Speaking of the Mages Guild, my next tip is to join the Mages Guild early. You're going to get easy access to ingredients and equipment, and little spoiler alert, so skip the next 10 seconds if you don't want to hear it, but when you finish the Mages Guild, you'll actually be able to have them harvest alchemy ingredients for you. Now, my last tip is very controversial. This one's up to you, but you can duplicate rare ingredients using those duplication glitches when you get the rare items. So you can do that to stock up. If you're into that, I won't tell anyone, don't worry. It's not for me personally in my gameplay, but I don't judge how people want to enjoy their single player experience. So if you want to duplicate them to make massive amounts of potions or poisons, go nuts, go for it. Who really cares? Alright, here are some recipe ideas that you can use, broken down by the required alchemy levels and requirements. We're going to go over some essential potions and poisons you should be making at the Novice, Apprentice, Journeyman, Expert, and Master levels respectively. This will help you keep an eye out for specific ingredients depending on your level, while also giving you the most effective potions and poisons to make while leveling up. After we break those down, we're going to be reviewing some of the strongest 4, 5, and believe it or not, 6 effect potions and poisons you can make, so be sure to stick around for those too. You shouldn't need to spend much, if any, time in the Novice level, as many character builds will put your alchemy skill above 25 by the time you leave the sewers. That being said, here are a handful of recipes you can slap together in order to reach the apprentice level quick if you're not already there. We'll start with the simple one, the one that everyone knows, Restore Fatigue. So taking any 2 food items in particular will create Restore Fatigue on self potions. This is, no pun intended, going to be your bread and butter for a lot of these lower areas. Essentially, you just need 2 food items and you combine them for Restore Fatigue. Food is literally everywhere in Cyrodiil, and many times it's not even illegal or wrong for you to take it. So stock up and make a lot of these. At early levels, these are solid potions to sell to give yourself a little bit of spending septums. Now I want to take a quick moment and just quickly explain filters for you up here. So you can utilize these filters to sort them by positive or negative effects. So if I was to choose Restore Health here, I'll see that I have venison and canned bolette cap that I can use to create these potions. So by clicking on that, this is actually our next one here. You'll want Camberlet Cap and Venison for this potion, and health potions at this level aren't super effective. As you can see, it's 2 points for 8 seconds. But many times I end up selling these as well, and I prefer to get weak or regular health potions from a shop until I'm a higher alchemy level. But these Camberlet Caps are found everywhere, especially in the tutorial, and Venison is very, very easy to find outside the Imperial City. So this is a great one to use to train up that alchemy skill. This is the last of your novice potions you'll want to focus on making, and that's if you're a magic user, especially with the Atronach sign, as early levels you'll not be fully stocked on magicka potions yet, so getting that magicka back will be pretty difficult. Black seeds are found everywhere, and steel blue Entaloma caps are found in similar areas, but they mostly grow between Coral and Skingrad, to the west of the Imperial City. This will restore your magicka for 4 points for 14 seconds on self, which will add up to 56 points total of magicka regeneration. I added this poison in here mainly because of the ingredients involved. Odds are you'll be at novice rank in the tutorial and very shortly thereafter, and you'll gather a lot of rat meat if you're the type to collect everything that you kill and encounter. Crossing the river after the sewers and entering Vilverin, you'll find a number of bone meal from the skeletons and other undead monsters by the time you leave the dungeon, giving you a lot of these that you can craft to help grind your level up if you're not at level 25 already. Very soon, you should be entering the Apprentice level of alchemy, where now you'll be able to identify 2 effects from every ingredient. This really starts opening up our options for alchemical creations, so let's take a look at a few of my favorite Apprentice level potions or poisons to make. While I'm not a personal fan of enchanting armor with Detect Life, I think this potion is a great option to make at Apprentice level. Not only can the potion be useful when stealthing or wanting to ensure a dungeon's all cleared out, but it allows you to keep using the rat meat you'll be finding absolutely everywhere, and bread loaves and tomatoes and things are pretty common out there in the world as well. It's the perfect duration for one last run through a dungeon before leaving, just to ensure that no enemies were missed. I covered this in a video focusing on feathers specifically, and this one's just a basic feather potion you can create at very early alchemy levels. While there are definitely better ones you'll be making later, in the early game getting 5 minutes of an extra 85 points of feather can be instrumental in carrying things to the market to sell or for some early in-game gold advancements. Keep in mind, you can stack some of these potions for additive effects as well. Now this next one is a water breathing potion. This is always good to keep 1 or 3 of these potions on hand in the early game. Odds are you'll find an enchanted ring or amulet soon enough to provide water breathing for a constant effect, but there are some quests, Mage's Guild, that having the ability to breathe underwater can be the difference between life and death, especially if you're overburdened. Vampire Dust may be difficult to find in the early game, but if you're leveling alchemy later on in your playthrough, you may have a handful of Vampire Dust laying around. This is great for making silence poisons to use against your spell-slinging enemies. Stocking up on this for the Mage's Guild questline makes the dungeon so easy when necromancers can't summon anything to help them and can only try to stab you with their daggers. If you've hopped into the realm of Oblivion here and there as well, combining these ingredients with Harada and Spittle Sticks as well will also damage their health and magicka. While there are more recipes you can make at this level, I feel that these are the most useful of the choices available. Plus, a lot of the ones I didn't mention require you to enter the Shivering Isles to get those ingredients, which I do recommend doing at later levels when you'll ideally be above the Apprentice level already. Something else to keep in mind would be in the Frostcrag Spire, over to the east of Bruma, you'll actually have on the upper level an entire little alchemy section that has a range of ingredients from all around Cyrodiil that you can pick right here. Additionally, at this table, when you approach it, you'll get Alchemical Brilliance, which will actually fortify your alchemy skill by 15 points when you're at this table, making this the best place to do alchemy potions and poisons in the game. At Journeyman, options really start opening up for you. You unlock a slew of new effects, both for potions and for poisons, as you'll see on the screen, and this is currently your ideal tier to make Fortify Intelligence potions, as once you reach expert level, they're also going to damage your endurance. Granted, it won't damage it by much, but it still damages it. This one goes first because at this level, you can make potions that only fortify your intelligence. This same recipe at an expert level will also damage your endurance because of that last unknown effect you unlock. So you want to probably stack up on these. Now keep in mind, it's literally a damage endurance 1 point for 1 second when you actually have all of the right equipment with it. So it's not very impactful, but still it's technically a detriment, whereas this is only a benefit where you'll get 22 points of intelligence for just over a minute there. Combining Bloodgrass and Radishes will give you 22% Chameleon for 75 seconds. Popping a few of these can make any stealth aspects to a game a breeze, as the closer you get to 100%, the harder it is for enemies to detect you. It's also relatively easy to make and can sell for a pretty penny if you aren't into chameleon builds. As you can see, consuming the potion still does stack the chameleon, so just popping 4 of them gives me 88%. I could try to pop another one, which would give me over 100%. Here, using Mutton and Somnalius Frond, we can make a Fortify Health Potion, which will give us 42 points of health for 145 seconds. There's not too much to go over here. Just be on the lookout for these ingredients to make some Fortify Health on the go. This next one's a Fortified Magicka Potion. Same concept as the Fortify Health we just covered, but this is for characters that are going to rely on Magicka, especially if you have the Atronach build and you can't naturally regenerate Magicka. This is a great combination, which will give you 41 points of Magicka for 141 seconds. Using Green Stain Cup Caps and Scamp Skins, you can give yourself 12% reflect damage for 41 seconds here. This is one of the strongest effects in the game, as it not only nullifies the damage done to you, but it'll send that back to its enemy. At Journeyman, you can start making these potions, and I highly recommend always being on the lookout for these items. It's 100% worth it. Now this one, utilizing Daedra Venom and Clanfair Claws, will give you a paralyzed poison. This is one of the more effective poisons you can find at the Journeyman rank, aside from those 4 and 5 effect poisons we're going to cover in just a little bit. And this is really effective for handling tough enemies. If you can gather a lot of these, you can just keep paralyzing the enemy almost indefinitely, letting yourself deal damage with no fear of retaliation at all. At expert level, you unlock the effects of Fortifying Speed and Reflecting Spells, as well as the poison effect of Damaging Strength. And at master level, you unlock the Drain Health Poison effect. Keep those in mind during this next section, where we break down some ultra powerful and effective multiple effect poisons, triple damage poisons, and 4 and 5 effect potions and poisons. We'll even cover 2 6 effect poisons that you can make, which will rock the world of your enemies. Some of these you can make at earlier levels, but some of these effects won't work if you don't have the effects unlocked at these higher alchemy levels. Now our first multiple effect poison we're going to make is one that's going to silence your opponent for 26 seconds on self. It's going to deal 9 points of frost damage to them for 38 seconds, and it's going to paralyze them for 3 seconds. This poison does so much nice stuff to your enemies, it essentially makes them unable to do anything, but also deals significant frost damage in addition to your regular weapon damage. This next one is a poison that can damage health, damage strength, and also paralyzes for 3 seconds. Now there's a couple ways you can make this one. You can either utilize a recipe, as I've done, with primrose leaves, bread loaves, harada, and clanfair claws, as well as you can always substitute out the primrose leaves, bread loaves with leek, whichever one you have. The other recipe is clanfair claws, Daedra venom, primrose leaves, and tiger lily nectar. This one's pretty straightforward. It paralyzes your enemies temporarily to give you some free hits. It'll also damage their overall health and sap their strength, which means they'll be doing less damage when they do hit you. Now this is the first of a few things I like to call triple damage poisons. Now this one's created using Dryad Saddle Polypore Cap, Imp Gall, Spittle Sticks, and Vampire Dust. As you can see, this will damage health on them for 8 points for 30 seconds. It does 9 points of fire damage for 37 seconds, and 9 points of frost damage for 38 seconds. This will do some serious damage by the time the poison wears off, especially against an Altmer or a race that's weak against elemental damage naturally. Now this poison's pretty similar to the last one. The main difference is just a slight difference in elemental damages here. So you'll see that instead of frost, we substituted out for shock damage for the poison. So that way, if you're fighting like a frost Atronach or something, this would be a much better tool to use than the one that's going to do frost damage, which will pretty much nullify against that frost Atronach. And my last, what I would call triple damage poisons, simply substitutes out the fire for either frost or shock. So this way, you'll have all elements covered, and it still damages the health there. So by having a combination of all of these last three, literally any elemental resistance you come across, you'll have a poison to handle it, no problem. Now we'll get into some 3-effect potions you can use, starting with aloe vera leaves, cambolette cap, ginseng, and strawberry to make yourself a potion that'll restore health on self for 13 points for 43 seconds, 27 points of fatigue on self for 86 seconds, and will also cure poison for yourself. This is just a solid potion that you can make that will take care of keeping yourself alive and continuing fighting. Now, I'm actually sneaking in a 5-effect potion in here for those who are actually watching the full video and not just skipping along. If you combine Screaming Maw, Bread Loaf, Carrot, and Daedra Silk in there, you can give yourself a potion that'll be 44% Chameleon for just over 2 minutes, 91 seconds of Night Eye. It does damage endurance on self for 1 point for just 1 second, which does essentially nothing. Then you've got 109 feet of Detect Life on self for 3 minutes and 54 seconds, as well as 86 seconds of restoring 27 points of fatigue on self. This is a very powerful potion you can make. It's not too crazy to make, but Screaming Maw might be a little difficult to find, but still a very effective 5-effect potion here that you can make, just showing you how crazy some of these individual potions can get. This is a potion designed for those who like to loot everything. Using arrowroot, garlic, lady's mantle leaves, and venison, this will give you 13 points of restoring health on self for 43 seconds. But the big things here is the 272 points of feather for 880 seconds. It's over 10 minutes, as well as 45 points of fortifying strength for just over 2.5 minutes or so. This is huge. This will really maximize your carry weight here and will be instrumental for you if you don't want to put feather sigils or enchantments on all of your gear. This next one utilizes beef, flour, green stained cup caps, and tomatoes, which will give you a great potion that does 27 points of restoring fatigue on self for 1.5 minutes. It reflects 24% of damage for 78 seconds and does a whopping 51% shield for 166 seconds. With most of these ingredients being commonly found food, this is a solid defensive potion you can make. It restores that fatigue to reduce your stagger chance, reflects incoming damage right back at your enemies, and reduces the rest of the damage that you would otherwise take with this shield effect. Super useful here. Now, we're going to be getting to the beginning of the truly crazy concoctions, the 4-effect potions and poisons. Keep in mind, these are not every option you can have, but these are the ones I find particularly effective, and we'll go over where you can go to find your own recipes that'll make 4 effects very shortly. Now, if you combine imp gall, spittle sticks, rat meat, and bergamot seeds, you'll make a poison that'll damage your enemy's magicka 15 points for 61 seconds, silence them for 26 seconds, you'll damage their health for 8 points for 30 seconds, and you'll deal 9 points of fire damage for 37 seconds. These ingredients aren't particularly hard to find, and this is a great poison to use against a wide variety of enemies, especially those that are casters. The damaging of health and magicka while also dealing elemental damage and silencing them will turn any caster into an absolute joke. Using some steel blue entaloma caps, harada, fennel seeds, and imp gall, you can make yourself a poison that'll deal 9 points of fire damage for 37 seconds, 15 points of magicka damage for 61 seconds, you'll paralyze them for 3 seconds, and deal 8 points of health damage for 30 seconds. Similar to the last poison, except we swap out the silence effect for a paralyze effect. In case you're fighting people who aren't casting magic, this will drop them on their ass just as easily. Combining flax seeds, milk thistle seeds, harada, and bergamot seeds will make a poison to damage health on self for the enemy for 8 points for 30 seconds. It'll paralyze them for 3 seconds. It'll damage 15 points of their magicka for 61 seconds, and it'll silence them for 26 seconds. This one's an awesome poison to put together. The ingredients aren't hard to find, it damages both health and magicka, and it takes the best of the last two poisons and does both silence and paralyze effect to your enemies. So whether they wield a sword or throw some spells at you, you're dropping them for at least a couple seconds no matter what. If you take water hyacinth nectar, void salts, sweet cake, and aloe vera leaves, you'll make yourself a potion that'll restore 24 points of your magicka for 78 seconds. It'll fortify 83 points of your magicka for 268 seconds, restores 27 points of fatigue for 86 seconds, and 13 points of health for 43 seconds. This is a nice all-in-one potion that'll give you more magicka, heal you, restore your fatigue, and help restore the magicka you've already lost. Later in the game, these are some of the most effective potions you can make, as it's all of your essential potions pretty much wrapped into one package for you. This next potion combines stinkcorn caps, fly amanita caps, blackberry, and aloe vera leaves to make yourself a potion to restore health on self 13 points for 43 seconds, restores 24 points of magicka on self for 78 seconds, gives you 50 seconds of invisibility, and restore 27 points of fatigue on yourself for 86 seconds. This is a beautiful oh shit moment potion to use. It allows you to restore all of your bars, magicka, health, and fatigue, as well as providing invisibility to break off of combat temporarily to allow its effects to take action. Now this next recipe utilizes venison, wispstock caps, pears, and lady's mantle leaves to make yourself a potion. Now keep in mind this is going to damage 1 point of your health for 1 second, but it's going to restore 13 points of your health for 43 seconds, which more than nullifies that. It'll also give you 272 points of feather for 880 seconds, which is like 14 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. And it'll give you 45 points of fortified speed for 146 seconds here. There's really a drawback with damage health, but not really. The restore health makes up for the difference, and the potion ends up making you a lot faster and able to carry a lot more, which even the feather will help your speed by reducing your armor weight too. Now we've got our 5 effect potions and poisons section. This is some of the strongest alchemy you can put together once we get to this point. Keep in mind, some of these can be achieved by using other ingredients, and at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a great tool to be able to discover these on your own as well. This first one, I use troll fat, fennel seeds, harada, and wispstock caps, but keep in mind you can substitute the troll fat for a number of things, such as elf cup caps, morning glory root pulp, scales, tiger lily nectar, you name it. This pretty much goes through. It's going to damage their health for 8 points for 30 seconds, doing 3 points of willpower damage for 12 seconds, 15 points of magicka damage for 61 seconds, 3 seconds of paralyze, and it's going to damage intelligence 3 points for 12 seconds as well. This is really huge. This will pretty much ruin any caster's day. You're damaging their essential attributes, you're lowering their magicka and their ability to regenerate it, as well as damaging their health and magicka as it is, with the added effect of putting them on their ass for 3 seconds too. This next one is made with bone meal, clanfair claws, rat meat, and harada, and this will be a poison that'll damage 8 points of health for 30 seconds, does 3 seconds of paralyzation, damages magicka 15 points for 61 seconds, silences them for 26 seconds, and will damage their fatigue 12 points for 47 seconds. This damages all of the core bars of your enemy, the fatigue, the health, the magicka, not only silences casters, but paralyzes all your enemies as well. This one's also effective against combat-based enemies specifically for that purpose too, because you're also damaging their fatigue and health and stopping them in their tracks. We combine vampire dust, milk thistle seeds, spittle sticks, and harada to make a poison that'll do 9 points of frost damage for 38 seconds, 3 seconds of paralyzation, 26 seconds of silence, 8 points of damaging health for 30 seconds, and will damage 15 points of their magicka for 61 seconds. This is pretty self-explanatory. Instead of hurting the fatigue or the attributes here, we do some frost damage instead, but we still hurt their health and magicka, and we make them essentially useless for a few moments with that silence and paralyze effects. This next one combines shepherd's pie, radish, columbine root pulp, and beef to make yourself a potion that does 51% of shield on self for 166 seconds. Will give you 45 points of agility for just a little bit less, actually, 146 seconds. It'll dispel 111 points on yourself. Restores fatigue 27 points for 86 seconds. And will give you a whopping 44% chameleon on self for just a little over 2 minutes. This is a great stealth potion to make. You get chameleon and fortify agility, plus you get some fatigue back and some shield as well. This next one, I use flax seeds, ham, bog beacon asco caps, and sweet cake to make myself a potion that'll do 27 points of restoring fatigue for 86 seconds, 13 points of restoring health for 43 seconds, 272 points of feather for 880 seconds, 24 points of restoring magicka for 78 seconds, as well as a 51% shield for 166 seconds. This will give you a nice boost to your carry weight, as well as restoring all of your essential bars and giving you a nice defense boost moving forward. Plus, these ingredients are all pretty easy to find for the most part. By combining flour, green stained cup caps, shepherd's pie, and beef, this will make a potion for 27 points of restoring fatigue for just under a minute and a half, 24% of reflecting your damage for 78 seconds. You'll get 166 seconds of 51% shield, 45 points of fortifying your agility for 146 seconds, and you'll dispel 111 points on yourself as well. This is definitely a great defensive choice here, as you reflect damage back to your enemies, dispel any harmful magic on you. This gives you a shield, restores your fatigue, and improves your agility. Plus, like the previous potion, the ingredients are all relatively easy to find here. Now, there are a handful of recipes I've found that can actually cause 6 effects to happen against your enemies. There are only 2 on this list, and the key difference is the elemental damage being done, but let's get right into them. Starting with this one, the Steel Blue Enthaloma Cap, Rot Scales, Spittle Sticks, and Harada can combine for a poison that'll do 45 points of burden for 3 minutes. It'll do 9 points of fire damage on self for 37 seconds. It'll deal 8 points of health damage for half a minute, 26 seconds of silence, 3 seconds of paralyze, and for 61 seconds will damage magicka for 15 points to your enemies. This is pretty self-explanatory. It makes them heavier, hurts their health and magicka, deals some nice fire elemental damage, and does our favorites, paralyze and silence. Now on this one, we'll combine Morning Glory Root Pulp, Bone Marrow, Rot Scale, and Vampire Dust, which will make a poison to do 9 points of frost damage for 38 seconds. For half a minute, you'll deal 8 points of health damage, 3 seconds of paralyze, silence on self for 26 seconds. You'll do for just a minute 15 points of damaging magicka, and you'll burden them for 45 points for 3 minutes. The only difference between this one and the last one is that this one does frost damage and the other one does fire damage. You could use them interchangeably depending on the enemy in front of you and the weakness it would have. I wouldn't recommend using the last one on something like a Dunmer or a Fire Atronach because they'll have heavy fire resistances, which will nullify a lot of this damage on this poison. Now, finding your own recipes can be a lot easier than trial and error in the UI in-game. A tool that has helped me for a long time, literally decades, has been the alchemy calculator located on the UESP website. I'll include a link to this in the description, but you can utilize this to set your equipment up and test out the combination of different ingredients to see what you can make before you make it. Now, this video has gone on long enough, but if anyone's interested in a video specifically covering this calculator and how to effectively utilize it, let me know in the comments and I'm happy to include it in a future video for you. Alchemy might seem like a background skill, but with the right knowledge and ingredients, it's an absolute game changer. From stealth kills to dungeon survival, potions and poisons are your best friends in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. If this video helped you at all, share it with your friends, drop a like, and subscribe for more Elder Scrolls content. And let me know in the comments your favorite potion combo or weirdest ingredient pairing. Maybe I missed something that you want everyone to know about. Let them know. Thank you so much, everyone. May Akatosh guide your way.